With the structure deck Blue Eyes White Destiny, Blue Eyes White Dragon is finally back on the map as one of the top decks in the meta of 2025. Recently, I took Blue Eyes White Dragon to a second place finish after a 9-round OTS Championship. In today's video, we're gonna dive in and take a look at my deck profile card for card. So let's go ahead and check out the Blue Eyes. All right, Devastators, we're back at it again with another deck profile on the Blue Eyes White Dragon, the legendary creature of destruction himself. Super excited to be back here making another profile on Blue Eyes. I wanted to make some other ones, a little earlier than this one, but it's been really busy, man. If you guys don't know, my dad passed away very recently, and it's just been it's been really hard to just get everything moving and going. And there's just so much going on. His memorial's coming up here pretty soon, and it's just a lot of planning, a lot of preparation, travel arrangements. There's so many people from all over coming over for that. So thank you guys again for all of your support and everything. It really truly means the world to me. It was really fun playing at this OTS Championship. We took this exact list to a second place finish after 9 rounds at that event. So big shout out to Game Grid Spanish Fork for hosting that incredible tournament. So many players came out for it. It was a huge event. Big shout out to everyone else that topped, and GG's to all my opponents. It was such a fun weekend, man. Like, honestly, some of the best Yu-Gi-Oh! I've played in a long time. So that was really cool. And Dad, it was all for you, man. I love you so much. I miss you, and we're always dedicating all the Blue Eyes to my papa. I just want to thank one of you guys out there for your support even further. I'm going to give away another Blue Eyes White Dragon from the Dark Side of Dimensions to one of our lucky subscribers. All you have to do to enter the giveaway is number 1, make sure you smash the like button. Number 2, be subscribed to the channel with notifications on. And number 3, leave a comment down in the comment section. All right, so we got our Blue Eyes White Dragon here. Really quickly, man, I got a half a box for getting second place of Supreme Darkness, and one of my pulls was the beautiful QCR Metal Flame Swordsman, man. So sweet. Game Grid always bringing the fire on their pulls, man. I'm telling you, dude. I pulled so many QCRs off that store. Holy smokes. GG's to you guys. All right, first up, let's get into our Blue Eyes cards themselves. Now, this is going to be a little bit more of a faster video. If you guys want to see more in-depth stuff on Blue Eyes, check out my other video. It'll be up here at the top and also linked in the description below. That's a more in-depth guide on how to play Blue Eyes White Dragon, going over all of the cards, new and old. So there's going to be some changes that I want to make to this deck. I will tell you that, and we'll get through those throughout the video. First up, we got our 2 Blue Eyes White Dragons. Dude, man, summoning these and just beating down with Blue Eyes is the most satisfying thing to do since I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Again. Oh my gosh, it's so cool. Like, Dad, you'd be so proud of me, man, whopping some fools with Blue Eyes. I'm telling you, dude, this is so crazy. Sucks though that when you brick on this. I've had a few games where I've drawn both Blue Eyes opening hand, and it's just like, woof, that hurts. All right, we got 3 copies of Maiden of White. Absolutely cannot cut this at all. You need to play 3 copies of this card. Some people are arguing to maybe play 1 Blue Eyes, but that is 100% incorrect. Please do not do that. The second you get that card sealed after using your roar, you're cooked. You'll never access Blue Eyes cards for the rest of the game. So you need to play 2 and be smart about them as well. There's ways for you to not get your cards banished built into the deck. So kind of think about that when you're playing, but definitely do not go to 1 Blue Eyes. That's just insanity. 3 Maiden though gets everything rolling. Such a great effect. True Light is just such a busted card, man. We got 3 copies of Sage with the Eyes of Blue, or Weise mit den blauen Augen. Yeah, I was in Germany 2016 when I got this copy after a top 8 of their Yu-Gi-Oh! Open or whatever. But don't forget about this guy, not just as a starter, but he has that in-hand effect. I use that so many times in my games and people forget about that one, where if you have an effect monster on the field, you can discard the Sage, target that monster, summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon out of the deck, and then the other guy goes to the grave. It'll trigger Maiden, and then she'll come out, and it's a great way to play around like Perulia, for example. So you don't have to do double normal summons. You'll just give them 1 card, but you'll go into full combo regardless. It's so sick. All right, now for the spells, we got 2 copies of Wishes for Eyes of Blue. I really don't see the need to play 3. At the case tournament, I played 3, and I cannot tell you how many games I bricked on multiple copies of this card. But not also just breaking on it, past turn 3, this card will never resolve because you are just always going to be having no targets. If you have True Light in rotation and constantly getting access to stuff, the second, definitely the 3rd copy of this will never come up. So highly recommend. I get the reasoning for 3. You want to see it. It's a great card. You could obviously side 1 or 2 of them out depending on if you're going first or second. But honestly, man, I found that after playing 100 something games with this exact list, the 2 was the perfect number for me. So if you want to change it to 3, go for it, man. But don't go to 1. That's just insane. All right, we've got the one copy of Roar of the Blue-Eyed Dragons. There has been instances where I've considered maybe putting this to a second copy, but this card's worse if you hard draw it, so it's not the greatest. So I just kind of think playing the one is fine. And then we got the one Mausoleum of the of white. You know, it just kind of gets everything moving for you. We got the True Light, best card in the deck, honestly. This deck wouldn't really do a lot of the stuff that it does without True Light. So we gotta always give a huge shout out to the Seto kaibas out there. All right, then last up we've got the Majesty with the white dragons. I've seen some profiles of people saying this card's garbage, and I can't get behind that. It's like not playing Salamangreat Rage in a Salamangreat deck like back in 2019. Like you're crazy. Why would you not want to play non-targeting destruction? That's freaking searchable, brother. This card's crazy. Don't cut it. Play it, please. Like the amount of blowouts with this card. If you get this card in rotation on turn 1 or 2 with Tyrant, it's game over, man. Like almost no deck can grind through the blue eye stuff if you're not getting like bestialed to death, right? Like this lineup is just like really clean. All right, next up is the Primite engine. Yes, I know these are all very expensive cards, and those that are more on a budget playing Blue Eyes White Dragon, do not fret. We will be making budget Blue Eyes decks and also other versions of Blue Eyes like Buster Blader version, and we also have the Alistair Invoked. I've just been waiting for all the cards to be in my hands so I can profile them for you. So those will be coming up very soon on the channel. I'm not entirely sure if they'll happen here in March because, like I said, I got my dad's memorial coming up. I've got a lot going on for that, but if I can get them out before April, I will. If not, they'll be in April for sure. So just definitely make sure to just be patient, my friends. We got 3 Primite Dragon Ether Barrel. I mean, this card is way too powerful. It's an infinite grind, man. Like this card just gives you infinite value. It's always a body. It searches and it resets a trap, a trap or a spell, depending if you're playing the Primite, Howl or whatever it's called. We got 3 copies of Primite Lordly Low. This card's also just really nasty. Like obviously the first 2 effects are cracked, like to search and then also to get the like Blue Eyes or Dragons for free every single turn from anywhere except the banishment. But also like don't forget about like if you have a Blue Eyes in your graveyard, you're getting 300 attack more on your dude. And that happens. Like you have multiples of these. Some people are like trolling, like, wow, he's like flooding his field with his Primite Lordly Lows. But then it's just like my dude is like over 2,000 attack. He's pretty beast. Like him and a Blue Eyes alone is like holding down the fort. There's a reason to the madness. I'm not just doing it to be an idiot. And then last up we got 1 Primite Drill Beam. There's an argument to play 2 copies of this card as well for like the infinite grind. But I don't know if that's really necessary. The only real problem with this card obviously is like you need to like understand when you should be using this, especially in the mirror match for this deck. You definitely want to make sure you are very reactive with this card. Like if you want to obviously prioritize banishing their Drill Beam first in response to their Drill Beam, like you negate theirs and banish it. Or if that Drill Beam's not in rotation and you know that for a fact, then the next target is to be reactive to their True Light. There are a lot of times where I would end phase, not even set this card because my opponent went first and had True Light, and they would end phase, go to set or special summon, and I would just chain Primite Drill Beam because I'd always have a Lordly Load or a Blue Eyes or something. All right, hand traps. Val's lots of hand traps, man. I mean, there's a lot of hand traps in this deck. Kind of like another beauty of Blue Eyes is you can play so many non-engine cards in this because the engine is not necessarily super tiny, but it's not super like intensive. First off, we got 3 Veilers. Cool because this is technically not non-engine. It's basically engine 2 because it's a 1-card starter. You can normal summon Veiler and just go into full combo. It's true. Yeah, you could also synchro with this card too. It's a tuner. We got 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Great hand trap there. We got 3 copies of Fuvalos. This card's honestly like not necessary to main deck. It's good. It's really good, but maybe going forward I might want to just side this instead. But it has room, and you have to play it regardless. If you're going to be playing at a competitive level, you need to either main or side Fuvalos. But I could argue siding this one instead of maining and not having Molcharmies in the main and just playing some other cards. But this card still is really nuts. I decided to play Ogre for this event to test it out. It was really good. This card never was useless. Very powerful. Really good on Ryziel Cross, man. Oof. We played 2 copies of Nibiru. This is another card that I was playing at 3 before, went down to 2, and honestly I might go to 0. Like this card was not very impactful. I saw it a lot. Like I mean a lot. And resolved it a lot, but I also bricked on it a lot. So I don't know. Maybe this card doesn't need to even be in this deck. It's not very useful for me either, as much as it was prior, because I cut out all of the like, Crimson Dragon nonsense. So this card isn't as useful as like a free Crimson. like I was in the previous build, but I don't know, it's still a good hand trap. It's really nasty, but like I feel like it's so easy to play around. And when they know how to play around it, it makes the card just useless. You'll just never really resolve it. We've got one Bestial Magnemite. I used to have Bestial Baldrake in it. I cut it out just because it was honestly like didn't do enough for me. The Magnemite is good, but honestly, I think I'm just going to cut it out entirely after this event. I don't really see the point in playing it as much, as instead I would rather play 3 copies of this card. This card just does so much more, solves more problems for you. You could also just constantly rotate it back onto the field with Tyrant, and even Lightstorm Dragon if you can get it popped. So I mean, this card does so much for you, man. It stops an insane amount of cards in the game. That search/draw. So having 6 Ash Blossoms in your deck is just really, really good. All right, and then we got 3 Imperms to round it off there for the final hand traps. And last 2 cards in the deck are just 2 Triple Tactics Talents. This card I wasn't playing before. I put it in for the OTS event. I'm glad I did. This card was nasty. It's probably one of the most powerful cards in the format right now. A lot of decks like are forced to play into talents. So this card's just really, really good. Every time I seen this card, man, I instantly was able to just like get crazy pressure. All right, let's throw the side deck real quick. 3 copies of Artifact Lancia, 3 copies of Molcharmy Meows, Hating on Malice, basically. We have 3 copies of Winter Cherries. This is a card I just kind of was testing out for both the case tournament and for this event. And both events, this card was nasty, man. Absolutely nasty. Highly recommend it, playing it if you're a Blue Eyes player. Most other decks, like you don't really have the luxury to play this because your extra deck is like really tight, but this deck is not a tight extra deck. You have like at least 2 flex spots, but this card was absolutely busted, man. 100% recommended if you're a Blue Eyes player. It's so good. I got 1 Harpy's Feather Dust there because this card's just really good. A lot of decks are citing Solemns, man. Also, this card's really good against you if you're a Blue Eyes player. 3 strikes. Going forward, I think I want to swap these out for Solemn Judgment. I think Solemn Judgment has a little more oomph behind it. This card is obviously like has more value in terms of like the monster effect portion of it, but the Judgment I think can solve more problems for you than Strike does. They're both very powerful, so kind of just play a preference, but I think Judgment might be a little more good right now. And then I got 1 Call by the Grave for when I go first, and then also cited in going second against Blue Eyes, so when they tribute their spirit I can just banish it, and then from there I won't really bother going into my spirit. I'll just go into Spheres, right, and just kind of that should be enough to simplify the game to like protect. Then the last card is Skill Drain. I saw it 1 time against Fiendsmith Yugioh and literally soloed that entire game. So I'm sorry that happened to you, my friend. This card sucks. We got our fusions. These cards are really good, dude. Like I cannot stress how good, like there's a world where I kind of want to play 2 of this guy, man. So because you can summon the first one just with the contact fuse off wishes, and then you can summon the second one by banishing Roar on the next, like whenever you want. For those that don't know, that card, the Roar of the Blue Eyes, you can banish it from the grave to fusion summon using stuff on your field or your hand. This card's super generic to make. Literally just a Primite Dragon Barrel and Blue Eyes Dragon makes this. It's pretty easy. So there's a world where 2 of this could be pretty good because that card's disgusting under Skill Drain, especially, man, because he's not affected. And then we got Black Rose Moonlight Dragon. I hard made this a few times with the Magnemite to just kind of like have it lingering around for a while, because this card's really, really good in some matchups, man. Like you just bounce your stuff back, like it's pretty nice. We've got our 2 spirits. I was playing 3 before. I cut it down to 2 because of the cherries cards, and I never made a 3rd. Hardly even made 2 most of the games, so like I don't see the need for 3. Lightstorm Dragon. I made this card a lot. This card's really good. I decided to put in Azurized Silver Dragon for this event. Every time versus Yugioh player, I played, like I said, like 3 or 4 Yugiohs at least. And this, you can't out this card, man. Like it just, they can't beat it. And we've got the 1 Ultimate Spirits, you know, for the Omni Negation. And then we've got our 2 Spirit with Eyes of Blue. Great card. I really don't see ever the need for 3. There's no need, in my opinion. Got the 1 Hieratic Seals. This card I very heavily can argue playing 2. If you have the space and want to make a space for a second, I honestly really think that this card should go to 2 over SP Little Knight. I think this card is much more powerful than SP, especially because we are playing Dominus Purge in the deck. So like there are chances where SP will just be completely a useless card in your extra deck. And then I've got the Lina. I made this card a lot. Stole Detonator with it. Also would just crash it to like search cards. like. We've got Superstar Slayer type on Sky Crisis. I only made it one time and it won me the match in the mirror match. And we've got our 2 cherries targets, the detonator and the white binder. These are just obviously your best targets to hit. In the mirror match, obviously you have so many targets because everyone plays all of these cards in the mirror. Mostly I was going in the mirror. I was going for the Blue Eyes Spirit, but there was one game where I did it for Spirit with Eyes of Blue, and it was still very, very disgusting to do that. But I think hitting the Synchro is more strong because it will turn off like half of the extra deck. There's completely unusable cards. Plus, like, not having that monster negation for your graveyard in the mirror is pretty good. That's it. That's my deck profile. That we got second place at this OTS Championship. Definitely make sure to leave a comment, like the video, subscribe if you're new here, and I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you on the next one. I want to give a huge special shout out to all the members of our Patreon, all the Lords of Devastation, our Dictators of Devastation, Y-Wing Guy, JT, Larry, Quinn, Savvy That Guy, Captain Trips, Puppy Pack, our Monkey of D, Galactic, our Moon Tier Zephyros, all of the Kings of Devastation, Condor FJ, SO Spartan, Severus, my mom, and our Blue Eyes White Dragon, Austin Witch. I want to give a special thank you to all the members of the Devastator Squad, especially our Duelist Tier, Larry and Puppy Pack, and our King of Games, Captain Leif.